Hi, you guys. This is Anya again, the Crafty Sagittarius. In this video, I will be showing you how I upload and size and cut the paper flower templates that you know you purchase from me or from any other paper flower maker. So this is just my workflow. It's either you have a better suggestion or not, but this video intentionally is really for those who are completely new with using the design space. So as you can see here in my screen, uh, we are in the Cricut Design Space interface. Uh, I know there's a lot of videos out there talking about how you are going to use every buttons and all. I'm not gonna tackle about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed to what really matters, especially to my paper flower customers. So again, you need to have a Cricut Design Space account for you to be able to have this entire with this
It's
interface.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, I know it's 11. Sorry, I always have a reminder of what time it is because normally when I'm working, I end up forgetting the time, and next thing I know it's already 3 o'clock. I don't even have breakfast or lunch, but I make sure that I have always a nice warm cup of coffee in my hand or in my desk. So anyway, enough about coffee. So again, you can check out. I'm sure there's a lot of places in YouTube that you can find how each buttons of these things in Design Space would work, but that's not really my intention here. I'm gonna shorten the process, hopefully, to show you guys how I upload and cut and lay out my petals in Design Space. Um, so, in this video, I'm gonna show you. I have a new design that I just released recently this week. It's Petal 180. I'm gonna show you guys how I lay it out in Design Space. So, when you purchase the PDF, the SVG or the machine cut vector files, I would suggest that you save it in your computer. So this is it. I already get that one here. I just label it sample templates because I already have it on my folder. I don't want it to double name tag. So I just put it the sample template, but basically this is the Petal 180. As you can see, it's all in here. When you purchase that particular template, I just upgraded it to having two more extra files that would work basically for the Silhouette Cameo users, which is EPS. So as you can see, there's EPS here, and I have the TIFF. Both will be working with Cricut and Design Space Studio. So for you to be able, by the way, to use SVGs for Design Space, you need to upgrade your software. I think uh, it doesn't come with the standard Silhouette Design Space, but you have to upgrade somewhere. I know I really should have gotten a Silhouette machine because I can really relate more if I have the machine itself. That's one of my project this month. I need to get a machine so that I can relay more to my Silhouette users how to really navigate and use my templates to your software. So anyway, you will have DXF, EPS, PNG, and SVG TIFF files when you purchase the template. So every design, it comes with 6 different sizes, so you don't really have to resize it. No resizing needed when you purchase this template. And most of my templates, actually, you don't need any resizing unless it's a tiny intricate file that I can only do so much without resizing. So again, most of this doesn't require sizing. So once you get this one, you will also be able to obtain this PDF file. You don't have, I don't recommend on printing this because there's really not much use of this piece of file printing. It's a PDF file with all the details on how many petals you need and what kind of base do you use, the sizes of bases that you use, the material list, but most important thing is the active video link that you will be able to get when you open it in your computer. I'm not sure how it works with mobile with mobile devices though. But again, I save it in a way that the link would keep inactive. So when you open it, it will automatically take you to my
Cooking is all
YouTube
about
video
you. It's about what you add to that dish. So I use Zatarain's yellow rice to put a New Orleans twist on the food I grew up eating.
That's
I'm
what
Chef
it is.
Charlie Pierre, and I'm bold like that.
You just have to endure the ads. And then there's the video tutorial. So that's basically the special thing about having this PDF file with active links in it. You don't necessarily have to print it, because for me there's really no use of, unless you know you wanted to take note of all the details here, which you can or you can't. It's really optional. But the most important thing here are the active video tutorial links. So enough for that PDF file. So again, we have all this different sizes of petal templates. I also have here, I also added accessories for free. So you can complete your files, you know, whether you have bought a flat center from me or not. So in accessories, I know I have this zip file. I normally use this because Cricut only, no, especially on Etsy, it only allows you to upload up to 5 files. And if you have as much files as I put in here together, it won't really work unless you have to put it together into a zip file. So in Mac, I'm not really a Chrome or Windows user, so I really cannot say anything about that. But with Mac, all you gotta do is just to click the zip file, and it will automatically extract the folder which contains all the files that you have. Again, with the free accessories that I gave, it is divided into 5 different folders, also with 5 different file extensions. So if you want the SVG, here you can see the SVG. So as you can see, there are 2 different types of flat centers that you can use to finish your paper flowers. I also included in the PDF active links the video tutorial on how you can make a flappy center without the use of cutting machine. So just in case you guys out there are making my paper flowers without cutting machine, or the PDF trace and cut file users. So again, there are 2 different flat centers that you can see here. Also, I added hexagonal base. I believe, especially for beginners, hexagon base works much better, so you don't have to, really eye it if it is even right or evenly distributed around your base. So normally I use 6 petals in my flowers in each layer. But although it's easier to use the hexagonal base, I still prefer to use my round base. That's my to-go base. So it's really up to you. You have all the choices. This thing is free, particularly in Petal 180. You can have all this flat center and bases in different sizes. That would really help you go through with your paper flower making. So going back to our design space, this is now where the magic happens. So again, sorry, I'm really running around. But before we go there, one thing that I would suggest after you downloaded the product or the templates, I would suggest to save it in your computer for easy access. For me, I would do it in my desktop. Just save it there. So going to our design space interface right now, the very first thing that we are going to do is to upload the files. So to do that, we need to click this thing here called upload, or labeled as upload. So very basic, self-explanatory, especially to those who has already experience on how to navigate around the interface of Cricut. So we will just browse and go to our desktop where I know where I save my files. It can be different from you. You might save it in your documents or wherever drive you have it. But for easy access, I just put it in my desktop. And I know I label it as sample templates, machine cut files, and we are going to get the SVG file for petal 180. As you can see here, there's the PDF tutorial. Also, there are 6 different petal sizes. There's A, B, C, D, E, and F that we're going to upload to our design space. So let's do this. Just click the first file that you want to upload. And I have to stretch this, shrink it a little bit, because I have my screen also in here. And then just click save. You can change the image name here if you want, but I intentionally do it like 180-A, so you would know what petal is that. By the way, the petal A is the largest and the petal F is the smallest, so it's descending. So I'm just gonna save it for the sake of saving it. So again, you can see it in your recently uploaded files. So that's the only thing about the Cricut Design Space. Maybe I hope one day they would allow you to upload all 6 together, but no, they're not. So we have to manually do it one at a time. So that's the second. Third. My desk told me that I need to stand up now. So those weird noises is around my office every single hour. So 5th. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot it in our comment section below. I would certainly be happy to help you through your project when it comes to navigating the Cricut Design Space using my templates. So now that you have uploaded all 6 petal sizes in here, we just have to click all of them and then here click insert image. So now you have all your petals in your design space. The thing is, black is really hideous to work with. It hurts my eyes when it's black. And also, you can only see like 1 petal in here because it's all black. And I understand it's really not the easiest color to work with. So what I would do is to select everything. You know that it's all selected because see, in this side here, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. Hopefully you can. So in this side here, you can see that it's all white. But notice when you are going to select everything, now it's turning to gray. So what you are going to do once you selected all the components, you have to go to this area here, which says line type and then cut. You need to click this square box here with a color black and change it with whatever color you wanted. So choose the color that's really pleasing to your eyes. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same colors as what I am using right here. So another trick that I wanted to share with you guys is to select, group it, and duplicate. Why? Because we need to save the original with its original sizes. Now with a copy, we can ungroup it. We can, distort it the way how we want it, but not worrying that we lose the original sizes. So now you can work in this templates, like however you wanted to work it out. You can shrink, you can enlarge. So that's the magic of the design space. So you can even change the color of your duplicate files so that you won't get confused. So if you're going to have the original, you know that it's purple, and the duplicate is just this one, salmon. Another thing that I really wanted for you guys to do is to save it first. Like before anything can happen, you save it first. So you have the original, and at the same time you have the duplicate templates. Let's say sample. You can give a file name with whatever name you wanted. Petal 180. And then save. So you might have like a power cut or whatever. You know that you have already saved your files in your design space, and you can access it in your mobile devices, which would be easier if you have already uploaded it through the computer. So now that you have all these files saved, you know that it's saved because in here, this area here, you can see the file that you use in saving it. So that's an indication that you have already saved the files. So now it's time for us to cut our templates. And I have gotten few messages actually just this 2021, especially from Etsy customers that, they freak out because the sizing doesn't really give them the right paper size when they try to cut it in the design space, that I don't give the right sizes. And you know what? Sometimes people will do that if they don't fully understand yet how the file work. So this video is for you guys I'm not trying to, make fun of those who hasn't really gotten the concept yet of Cricut Design Space. I have been there, and I really work so hard to try to learn how to work around in this interface. So anyway, my main purpose of this video is to show you how to cut the templates that you got from my shop, at the same time save paper from your cutting. So basically, how I do my cutting is to just, put together 2 petals at a time in one paper. So that's how are we going to utilize the cutting of our petals. So I'm gonna show you here a trick on how I do that. So normally I start with the largest and the smallest template. So I'm gonna move here. As you can see, it's petal 180 and A. So this is petal A, this is the largest. And I'm gonna combine it with petal F, which is the smallest. So again, I'm just trying to make it work and fit into the normal paper size, which is 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Normally with this size of flower, if you are, I'm gonna show you what we are attempting to do. So when you cut 6 petals of all these templates, you will be able to make this 23 inches flower. You can see how huge it is. It's humongous. And also, this tiny 10 inches flower, all in the same cutting. So basically, with the large flower, I was using petals A, B, C, and D, 6 petals at a time. And the smallest, I used the 2 smallest, which is the petals E and F. So I'm just trying to utilize, how you can cut these petals in your paper. Saving spaces. So what I'm just trying to do here is trying to adjust the petals around, making it sure that it would fit into our 8.5 by 11 size of paper vertically. So what I'm talking about here is that, in your design space, the safe area is 8.5. So as you can see, from here, it's the 8.25 area, and going down 10.75. So that's your safe place. That's where you can fit all your files without worrying that Cricut would cut a portion of your petals when you try to cut it. So to make it easier, let's hide all these 4 petals that we don't use. So again, I'm just trying to adjust the petals, making it sure that it would fit into our safe area here, which is, again, our safe area is 8.25. That's horizontal, and 10.75 vertical. So that's how are we going to know that we are in the safe space. So now that we position our petals in a way that's aligned into our safe area of our design space, many would think that, oh, okay, yeah, let's hit make it, and then boom, the petals didn't do exactly what we wanted to do, like align it in a way that it would fit in an 8.5 by 11 inches paper. Now it's requiring 12 by 12 because it's way off the line that we made. So let's go back to our design space, cancel it, and go back to your design space. So again, what we're going to do is to select these 2, and down here, see this button here, that's what we are going to click, making it sure that it will stay in place when we try to cut it. So it doesn't necessarily just have 2 components that you are going to attach together in a file. It can be 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more. Then we can click make it. So as you can see here in our design space, it actually does what we want it to do. Like even the layout, the leaning of the petals towards this side and this other one too, flipping it on the other way so that it would fit. It does exactly what we want it to do. And then the next thing that I wanted to point out, there was a lady who freaked out, and I cannot blame her because I did the same thing too when I was just a beginner in this avenue. So in the material size here, as you can see, in this area. So this is your material size here. This is only that's the suggested material size by Cricut to safely cut your files without damaging the components. So when you load 12 by 12 cardstock, potentially there's a less risk that it would cut or damage any sides of your petals. But we are not going to use 12 by 12. So if we are going to click this arrow down here, it has 8.5 by 14, which is something that we don't use anyway. It has 9.12, another size that we don't use, an 11 by 17, or the 11.5 by 16.5. These are the sizes that doesn't even normally exist in normal office shop. So the sizes that we have normally is just the 12 by 12 and the 8.5. And because it's suggested here by Cricut to cut it in 12 by 12, I would not worry and just leave it as is. The main thing that you have to be concerned about is to make sure that your file is just within the safe area of 8.5 by 11. And barely make it, but it does make it. So we don't really have to worry. We can click continue, and based on, it's very self-explanatory. You know, you can see the orientation of your files when you're going to cut in your design space. So whether it is vertical, which is this way, or here is horizontal, this way. So in our case here, we're going to cut it in a vertical way. Meaning, this is your mat. So we are positioning our paper or cardstock in a vertical manner. And then now, we can proceed and load it to our design space. Oh, wait a second. I'm gonna point it out to you too. You sure you want? Yes. So I wanted to point out how I place my cardstock to my mat. So you might wonder why I have a little space here at the top and a little space here at the side. So as you can see, there's also, you know, in my design space, there's also a dead space here that Cricut won't cut. So basically, this is also a safe space. So I'm just moving a little bit here, making it sure that I really have enough room for the blade to navigate without cutting the sides of my petal. So that's how I do. Now let's continue doing it and load our mat and have the light cardstock, which is the 65 pounds paper, and then click OK. And time for my coffee. So I just really, as you can see here in the mat, although it says 12 by 12, I want you to ease up and don't worry so much about the suggested paper size with the cutting machine, because it doesn't really matter as long as you know that you are within the safe space limit of your design space. So, and I'm gonna show you that it really does work. That's the trick that I have, you know, without stressing so much about, oh my god, I don't have 12 by 12 cardstock, for goodness sake, is really expensive, like 75 cents each. No way. You cannot make money out of those kind of price. So as you can see, we just finished cutting our petals. So now you have the largest and the smallest. It does really fit in 8.5 by 11 paper. So don't you worry, even though it's suggested that you need to use a 12 by 12, you don't have to. You know it in your heart that you are at the right size. Actually, I size my my petals in a way that it would really maximize the use of 8.5 by 11 cardstock paper without wasting as much. As you can see, there's really not much waste of paper in here. And what can you do with the remaining, really? So for me, it's more about saving. So if you can do that, if we can save in our cutting, that would be a lot much better. So let's pretend, for example, that you already finished cutting in one, as again, in one flower, you need 6 petals in every layer. So 6 of this and 6 of this one. So let's pretend that we already finished cutting all 6. Let's hit finish and hide this one because we already finished using it. And we're going to use the petal E and petal B. Again, the same thing. We're going to position it in a way that it would fit to our 8.5 by 11 cardstock. In this manner, still again, horizontally, vertically. And before you even wanted to move on and click make it, just like the first batch of templates or petals that we did, I would recommend to select both and click attach, so that when you click make it, it will do exactly how we want them to do in each position and in a particular order and place in your mat. So again, we're going to place it vertically. And hit continue. This is just my excuse actually to have a sip of my coffee. It's getting cold. I don't want cold coffee. So if you have any questions, guys, when it comes to, working in your design space, if you have difficulty, or, just some clarification with this tutorial, or like if you encountered some other problem that I might be able to help, don't hesitate to shoot it in the message section below. I would be so glad to answer with all truthfulness whatever concerns you have. So again, we finish our cutting. Our petals E and B are here. Again, let's pretend that we finished cutting all 6. So we hit finish and just hide it. And now the remaining petals that we have is petal D and petal C. So it doesn't necessarily mean that your position of your petals or your paper in your mat would be vertical. Sometimes it would work so much easier when you cut it horizontally. So let's make this one as an example. It depends on how you are going to position your templates in your design space. That's how you are going to position your paper also in your mat. So let's flip this one vertically like so, and just making it sure that we are in the safe space. How I know that we are in the safe space, as you can see, this like highlighted rectangle here is in 10.75 and 8 inches, which is in the safe space. If you have difficulty seeing the gray area, as you can see, it's all in here. When you highlight or select this two, so basically it's in 10.75, which is the safe area here, and 8, which is also another safe area. You don't have to worry about, you know, it's not vertical. Because we can, of course, change the way how we position our paper in our mat. So again, before proceeding to make it, click this button here, attach. After selecting those two files together, again, wait, I think I have a problem here. So just the B and just the D and the C. You would know which files you are selecting because again, you know, on this right side here, you would see that it's turning into a grayish, darker shade of gray than the rest of the components that you have before hitting the attach button. And then now you're ready to click make it. So just grabbing a piece of cardstock. Again, based on the way how our templates are laid out in our design space, it's self-explanatory that it is in horizontal orientation. So what we are going to do also when putting our paper or cardstock into our mat, we are going to position it horizontally. So again, this is like saving cardstock tricks that I do when I'm doing my cutting. So as you can see, I position my paper horizontally in my mat, and then we are now good to go. Let's load our mat and hit continue. And click the light cardstock, which is the 65 pounds, and just hit OK. So by the way, there's an option that you can really rush the cutting in Design Space, but I would not suggest, especially when you are just a beginner. Try to get hang of it first before you would go to like rushing the cutting. But anyway, here's our petals, and let's pretend that we already cut all 6 and it's completed. So I'm gonna show you a trick here how you can really rush the cutting. Let's go to make it and let's hit continue. And after you do that, you load your mat and then hit the desired weight of cardstock, which is normally the 65 pounds. And then, as you can see here, when too bad I cannot show you how, because I'm using my computer, my Cricut Design Space. But basically, my Cricut logo now is blinking, which means that if I click it, it would, you know, start the cutting. But before, if you wanted to have a fast mode, before hitting this blinking button right here for Cricut, check out my screen here. We are going to click this button in here too fast before we're hitting the blinking Cricut logo and proceed the cutting. So since I don't have anything to cut, this is just a trick for you guys. I'm just gonna cancel it. So that's one trick on how you are going to make it fast, how you are going to cut it a little faster. So we're going to cancel this. The next trick I'm gonna show you is how you are going to put a slit on your cardstock or in your petals, while you are in your design space, so that you don't have to do it when you don't have to do it when when really assembling your petals. And besides, it will give you a much uniform cut in the end. So let's go ahead and open our original sizing, which is this. We're going to duplicate it again and then turn off the original and then change the color of our new one. And let's say we'll use the yellow, and then we're going to ungroup it. So now that we ungroup it, the first thing that I wanted to do is to really spread the petals out, making it sure that I can visibly see them. Like so. Ignore the fact that it's overlapping with each petal side. It's not really a huge concern. What I'm just trying to do here is to level the base area as much as possible. Like so. So as you can see, when creating a slit into our petals, the larger the petal, the deeper the cut is. So the cut depth is descending as you get smaller petal. So for us to be able to add a slit into our petal, and Cricut will do it for us instead of us cutting it during the assembly. Here's a trick for you guys. So in this side here, in shape, we're going to click it. Let's click shape, and then the score line. That's what we are going to do. So basically, the score line will just indicate to Cricut that we are going to put a scoring line in here when we are cutting our petals, but that's not our intention. Also, when you are going to use that, you need to have a scoring tool like this one from Cricut that you can also load on the other side of your like cartridge here besides the blade. So you need that, but that's not really the intention here. What we wanted to have is to have a cut line, not a scoring line. So what we do is to click the line, and then in here, the line type, we are going to click this arrow, and instead of score, we're going to click cut. So as you can see earlier, it was a broken line. You know that it's scoring your the surface that it occupies, but now it has a solid line, which means that it is cutting your that portion with the scoring line. So again, we'll show you the difference between scoring. So it's scoring in here, and it's a broken line. We click it and change it to cut. When you click outside your petals, as you can see, you will have a solid straight line in here. So the way how I want my petals would be, it will start with a much deeper slit when it is larger. So it started with 3.76, or if you cannot really get the 3.75 in here, you go to this area here and change it to 3.75 to be exact. So I want to start in that size for the largest petal, and I position my slit, or my line in the middle of the base, making it sure that the tip, or the lower portion of the line, really hit at the most bottom part of my petal. That's how it is. You don't really have to freak out like, oh my god, it's not as center as it should be. There's really no such thing as perfection here. You just have to eye it. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just have to eye it. So let's try to hide all this other... No, that's not how I want it. So now we started with 3.75. Let's duplicate it and have 3.25. 3.25 descending, going to the next petal, or maybe just 3. Again, we're going to position it the same way as we did with the first petal, like at the very center, like touch the lower part would touch the base in our petal here. So again, we are going to duplicate it. We don't have to, really we don't have to have an exact sizing here, but our aim is to gradually descend the slit to our smallest petal size, because the way how it works is that the slit would determine how upright your petal would be when you are going to assemble it. That's the key on how you are going to have a 3-dimensional looks in your flower with your slit. So it determines how upright or how flat your petal would be in your base once you are going to, with the depth of its slit. So another factor also that would determine the uprightness of your petal is how you flap the cut of your base to one another. So the lesser you put together the flap, the flatter it gets, but the more you get inward, the more it is upright. So again, I'm just eyeing here. It doesn't necessarily mean that it should be, there's a perfect size for, there's a perfect size for the slit. I'm just gradually eyeing it, that the slit is getting shallower as I get to the smallest petal. So I can even reduce this a little bit, because I think it would help. And then duplicate and go to my next petal and reduce it. Again, duplicate it. The same thing. And last piece. I'm sorry guys if it's getting too long right now, but I just really wanted to point out and share with you all the tricks that I have, making sure that you have a smooth and easier experience with my template in your design space. I'm still learning how to add this cut, with my petals, and I'm sure I'm gonna do it eventually. I'm still learning just like you guys. So now that we have all the lines in here, we might think that, we can proceed and cut it. But before I'm gonna do that, here's a trick again. So let's just select all this and put it in a group. So that I can just turn that off all at once. So let's see, for example, you want to cut this one petal. And you might think that, oh, okay, I can go ahead and hit make it and then cut. The problem is it gives you two separate mats. One with a, as you can see here, one with a slit or one with a line and one with a template. We don't want to do that. So again, let's go back. And the same thing with when we are placing our petals together. We're going to select these two components, the petal and the line. As you can see, both are highlighted here. And again, click the attach button to make sure that it keeps it intact when you click make it. As you can see, it's all in one mat with a slit on it, and even though it says that it needs to be cut in 12 by 12, again, we can ignore it. So just showing you guys how it is when cut. Here's a sample. So this is just my way of sharing with you how you can maximize and really become efficient with your cutting using your design space with the help of my templates. I'm running out of coffee. Anyway, I should be done shortly, so bear with me. And I hope this video will help in your paper flower making. Again, I would suggest, especially when you are just a beginner, save your files first in Design Space using your computer, and then you can work in your mobile devices once it's saved already in your Design Space. So as you can see here, I already finished the cutting. This one is with the slit that we just added. So as you can see, it's clean, but it's there. So that's how you add slit in your petals. Let's go ahead and I don't know why. So again, basically that's how you are going to add a slit to your design space. And don't forget to save it, guys. Save it. If you have work done in here, you need to save it. Save it constantly. But if you don't really intend in making additional layout in your project, you don't really have to. So here's another thing. In case, those times that my attachment in my templates doesn't have the base, here's how you do it. So in shape, just click it. Either you use the hexagon or the circle. So you can use the hexagon. I'm not sure what's going on with my design space though. It's messing up a little bit. So again, I need to close this for now, guys. But you get the grasp of how I really want it to be. So you need to save every time that you made changes. Let's just launch the design space again. Again, because we save it, you can see that it's here. It doesn't save the lines that I made earlier, but at least it's here. So we're just gonna hide this part because that's not the intention of this video, this portion. I want to show you guys how you can create base. So click the shape and use whatever shape you want, either circle or hexagon. So for the sake of the beginners, you know, I would suggest to use the hexagon. And I would start with 4.5 width. 4.5 or 5 inches. Or 5 inches. So that's the large base that you can use in making your paper flowers. So like for example, you're going to cut this one in a thicker paper. Let's see for example that your paper size is 9 by 17. Or just cutting it in 11 by 8 thicker cardstock. I would recommend really, if you are going to have a base, I would suggest to use the thicker one because it would hold your flower firmly and in place. So just copy and, you know, try to make use of all the parts of your paper. So it doesn't really work to have more than 2 5 inches base. So I'm gonna decrease this to 4 inches, which is like the medium size base. So again, we are going to position our paper here horizontally to cater and accommodate the sizing of our paper. And I don't think we can add more of the third one, it's too much. So again, we can just select it. So as you can see, it's in our safe space, and then you are going same thing, click all four, and then attach before hitting make it. So that's how you are going to make different kinds of shapes and patterns and put it together and cut it all at once, guys. So it's almost been an hour. I was just thinking that this is just gonna be a 30-minute video, but I think I was talking so much. I just really wanted to share with you guys as much ideas as possible when it comes to, you know, tricks in making paper flowers that I've learned throughout more than 4 years in the business. So I hope you guys learn a lot from this video. If you are a fan and if you are, you know, really following me all throughout my social, please give this a thumbs up. It would help tell YouTube that this is a relevant video in this particular avenue. It would help me a lot. It would also grow our community and our tribe. So please don't forget to like and share and subscribe and click that bell button wherever you can find it in your screen in YouTube. It would notify you whenever I am uploading a new video regarding paper flower making. So see you guys next time. Adios.